Welcome to Poke Nation, starring Matt Fontenot.
A little different than the Heath Schroyer show.
A little different, little less hair showing, little bit more, probably a little calmer show.
Maybe so. We'll see. We'll see how
it goes. Yeah. So Matt, what is your new title, or do you have a new title, or what are your new roles?
I don't think I have a new title yet. I don't know. There's a little. There's still a little gray going on, a little gray area, but new roles. I guess I've taken on the corporate sponsorship that Heath was handling, and so still have the other departments for now. But as things shake out and move forward, things might change in the list of duties. But for now, the addition is the corporate sponsorships.
So we have to talk about a little bit about Heath Schroyer. Obviously, after 6 years as athletic director, he has moved to LSU and probably what would have to be the biggest surprise in the history of the world.
I think everybody's very surprised.
Let's be realistic. It's been talked about for months already. It's been written about for a year, I think, by some people. But one thing is, he did leave this place in really good shape. He did a tremendous job, but he left this place in good shape. I know a lot of people are like, oh, is this the end? Are we going back to... This McNeese right now is completely different from the one he took over, but also it is prepared to take the next steps, is it not?
Absolutely. I think, I know you hate to give Heath credit, but
yes.
Outside of, I think, everything that the public sees, the fundraising, the wins in basketball and all those things, I think that's all things that people see. What they don't see, I think, is what was done as a department from staffing and just the books and all of the things that's behind the scenes that maybe people don't realize. But this athletic department staff, and I'm talking coaches, assistant coaches, down to just any of our ticket operations, our facility operations. I've been here for 3 years now with Heath, and this is the strongest staff that McNeese Athletics has ever had.
Yeah.
And I can confidently say that, again, coaching staff-wise, it hands down is the best overall from top to bottom, football down to tennis and beach and all those. We have phenomenal coaches that are doing really good jobs. And then, again, from just an everyday operations staff, from tickets to marketing to facilities to digital media, academics, across the board. This is hands down. I know he has always said his goal was to make this a Division I university, and it definitely is, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference. I think we've seen, and I've talked about this in the past, is you can see on the courts and all that what's going on. But what you don't understand is he turned this into a real program to compete on a level that's above the Southland. You're not getting, it's not... When you recruit players, you're not recruiting to win the Southland Conference anymore. You're recruiting for the next stages, the next levels.
Yep.
But more importantly, he's turned it into a business that is compatible with bigger schools and mid-majors.
Yep.
And that is what's sustainable that people don't understand.
That's right.
And the second thing that is different than completely ever before is he got people to buy in both emotionally and, more importantly, financially to invest in the program, to where they're now invested. So if he goes, their investment still has to continue. So talking to some of the people around town, I know you're going to work with them a lot. They're like, okay, we survived the Will Wade exit and went back to the tournament. We will survive this and we will move forward.
Yep. I think what the public has realized, and again, just in the last week of picking up the pieces, so to speak, on the corporate sponsorship, obviously Heath is beloved, and there's a lot of donors and a lot of businesses that bought into what Heath's vision was. But I think more importantly, I think they've bought into the potential that McNeese has and the impact that it has on Southwest Louisiana. So the general consensus through the businesses and the donors that we've talked to is we're excited to keep this thing going. We know that the vision is not just a one person or a one man show, that the vision is going to continue, and we're on board for that. So it's been great to see.
And also, I think people don't understand that, like what Will Wade said when he left, I will always be there for McNeese.
Sure.
The fact that they're only 2 hours away is probably the best case scenario of them leaving.
That's right.
I think it is a benefit to the school. My first question for Will Wade Monday morning is definitely going to be, when are you going to come over and play McNeese?
Absolutely, man.
Because we are now a quad one game.
It will 100% be a quad one game for them on the road.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer for Will Wade. We got to get Will here and the Tigers here in Lake Charles.
Yeah, and then that would be the next step. You're going to sell out.
Yep.
So you're going not only are you going to sell out, you're going to have a quad one game, and so you take an early loss if you're LSU. You can survive.
That's right. Absolutely.
But that will be kind of the fun part of it, seeing how much there is compatibility. I mean, we're going to play them in football this year.
Yep, that's right.
So I figure we'll have the Heath Trophy.
Battle of the Schroyer Trophy. What's it going to look like? What would that?
Well,
trophy
here's my take, because I always wanted a Heath Schroyer bobblehead and a statue. So he wants the statue, I want the bobblehead. Let's combine it. Let's have a little statue about this big, a little Schroyer.
Yep.
Got a little opening, a little hair coming out. You got the head and the bobbles, and you got to do this. You got to have a poke here, and you got to have an L here. So there you go. Because he's going to be doing this all the time now.
That's right.
I want to see how many times he gets confused. But so I think the main thing for people to understand is still has an upward trajectory.
Absolutely, and again, another thing that Heath was very, very good at was empowering people.
Yeah.
He was big on chain of command. He organized the department in a sense that Bridget and I, everybody funneled through Bridget and I reported to Heath. And so from a day-to-day perspective, I don't think we'll miss a beat from an operational and organizational structure perspective moving forward.
And when we come back on Poke Nation, we're going to have Chaston Tavares, the young voice of McNeese Athletics, to talk about what he thinks about all this after this on Poke Nation.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. Shoemate tips the brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
Welcome to Pro Pools, your one-stop shop for everything pool care. Top quality chemicals to keep your water clean, clear, and balanced. Plus in-store savings and rebates to keep more money in your pocket. Upgrade your cleaning with industry-leading equipment and turn your backyard into the perfect escape. From simple setups to luxury designs, we've got you covered. Visit Pro Pools today on Romero Street in Lake Charles, or call now and dive into better pool care.
All right, our guest is Chaston Tavares, the young voice of McNeese Sports, I guess. You do all sports. So you're not surprised by anything that's happened in the week and a half, I would take it.
No, I think we all expected that. And this is, I mean, as everybody said, this has kind of been in the works for the last little while. I mean, everything that's happened. I mean, I think if you were to, describe it as a shock, no.
So you've been here. You grew up in this area. You've been you've seen McNeese forever. What's the difference now that makes you think this is sustainable, this is a completely different university than it was before? Because otherwise, that it's just not a one-man show.
I think it all comes down to the funding aspect of it. If the money keeps flowing in, that's something that has not been necessarily a major factor, maybe when I was growing up, which obviously college athletics has changed so much over the last, 5 or so years that it didn't have to play a big factor. It did behind the scenes, but not, out in the public. And that has changed. I mean, look, when Heath, Heath was able to bring in $11 million over the last year or so. They were able to bring in money here into the athletic department and did a really good job, and you can see it. I mean, look, basketball has really taken off. Men and women both had a really good year. They're pouring money, and that comes from the community. And it all goes back to when they, took everything over from Learfield, made that decision, and that's really done a complete 180 on what this athletic department has been able to do.
So what about the basketball season? I mean, just let's kind of wrap up that, I guess, before we move on to football. What are your thoughts at the end? I mean, again, you just said we had two really good seasons for both men and women.
Yeah, look, I think you call it a success. I mean, obviously, look, the men's side of things, you go to the tournament, and I think that was probably, outside of winning the game, that was the best thing that could have happened. You go down there and you compete. Yeah. You don't go down there and get your doors blown off like you did when you played Gonzaga a couple of years ago. Right. You get your doors blown off against Gonzaga a couple of years ago, and that just continues to show the growth that this program has had because you're not getting blasted off the floor. Yep. You're going in and you're competing, and if it's not for a Tyler Tanner 3 late, you're right there in the ball game. Yep. Foul, you have to foul late, kind of stretches out the lead. No, none of us agree that was a 10-point game, but that continues to show the growth of the program. And look, I don't think you can say enough about what Bill Armstrong has done with the men's side. That's a tough job to come in behind your best friend. Will Wade. Nobody wants to follow that guy. Bill Armstrong did so, and you could argue did a better job than what Will did. I'm not saying it was a better job,
but it's a tougher job because there was no expectations when Will Wade took it over. Yep. There's huge expectations now, and there's a lot of people sitting there waiting for him to fail.
Yeah. I would add to that. I mean, I think what he did down the stretch, if you've never been a head coach before, I don't think you understand what it's like to be a first-year head coach. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know, and I think there was a lot of, if you looked at the first half of conference, even his demeanor on the bench and everything, it got emotional at times, and the players were kind of reining him in. And then on the back end of the conference, you really saw a confident coach, a guy that was in control of his team. His players trusted him. What the job that he did this year was phenomenal.
Well, I think he did. He admitted that throughout much of the year. Yeah. He said, "Look, I'm still learning. Not only are these guys who haven't played a lot of college basketball, not only are they still learning, but I'm still learning as well." You flip things over to the women's side, and I think, I think we all expected Coach Gazzolo and company to be in the tournament. I think they expected to be in the tournament, but I still think it's a successful season. Yep. Because what they were able to do, they shatter so many conference records. I know it didn't end the way they wanted it to, but they're able to go down into the WBIT and really grab some momentum. They go to Texas A&M and get the win over a place you were at for a little while.
And they put
that one hurt. That one hurt you a little bit.
It did. Bittersweet.
But it did show that they can play against Power 5, and that's one of the things she wanted to do because she's setting up next year and their run because now they can say we've done that. And they will be looked at completely differently. And that's one of the things that the McNeese men did too, is they got looked at differently because they can now do it in 2 or 3 years. I thought this is a huge step because of that. Now it's a program, it's not just a guy.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. Look, and I think she knows what she wants to go get. What she needs. She's got a good freshman recruiting class coming in, and I expect them to be, just as good next year.
I think they'll be actually better next year because they'll be bigger, but she's got to get more offense. Right. I think we all know she had to get offense to go into it because there are certain games you can't win just one style. You have to be able to win different styles, and that's something that she couldn't do. Where the men could do that at times. They could score, they could do that. Those were the two biggest things. But still, she won 29 games. Yep. We've never had 29. She's won more games this year than they've won 3 previous years.
I said it a lot of the year that. And I had talked to her about this. Like, I know that their end goal was the NCAA tournament. Everybody thought they would be in the NCAA tournament. But for this university, it may not have been where she wanted to be, but for this university, it was a huge stepping stone in year 1.
Huge. And I think that's what – I don't think people understand, and I've tried to explain to them how bad of a situation this was 6 years ago and how this was borderline the worst program maybe in the country. Yep. Because of the hurricanes, the damage, this building wasn't here. We're in a $25 million press box at, what did it end up being? $32 million press box that didn't exist that we were sitting out in the Cowboy Club or outside. So it's a remarkable thing, and I think people thought, well, they just turn it around in a year, but it takes time to turn things around.
Yep.
So you weren't here for baseball the first year after the hurricane, where we were actually in a building that looked like it was about to collapse on my head. But now you're doing games there. Interesting sport, baseball, because of the changes in that. Is it impossible to get a read on a team this early, even because of the fact that everybody's new?
It is. It's tough, but it's also tough at this level when you also have so many pitchers. This is a sport that's made on pitching.
Yep.
I think we all know that. If you can't pitch, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And for, in this case, for Justin Hill, they've got 7 guys who are coming off major elbow surgery. So, and they're wanting major innings out of those guys. So I think that part of it's a tough part, because you're still building up. I know guys are stretched out, but you're still building some of these guys back and getting them going. So it is not only from that perspective, but others as well, to get a kind of a gauge on a team. And look, they're still kind of getting into the still ramping up. Obviously, they're 4 weeks into conference play, but they're still ramping up for the most part.
Yeah, they start conference early here. That's for sure. When we come back, we'll get more with Chaston after this.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. Shoemate tips the brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
Welcome to Pro Pools, your one-stop shop for everything pool care. Top quality chemicals to keep your water clean, clear, and balanced. Plus in-store savings and rebates to keep more money in your pocket. Upgrade your cleaning with industry-leading equipment and turn your backyard into the perfect escape. From simple setups to luxury designs, we've got you covered. Visit Pro Pools today on Romero Street in Lake Charles, or call now and dive into better pool care.
We're back with Chaston and Matt Fontenot on the new Matt Fontenot show.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, where's the
everybody wants to know.
where's the hair at?
Well, I got a T-shirt this morning. We got spring game here in a minute, but maybe I might open up a button up for the next show.
Have to cut a V down.
Matt, I want to ask you this about baseball, because you're a baseball guy here.
Yep.
And that, as an administrator, it used to be you could actually develop kids at this level.
Sure.
Can you develop them now?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think you got to do it in a hurry, and I think obviously in the days of the transfer portal, you really need to get guys in here that have innings and at bats under their belt to have a foundation to develop them. I mean, if you get a kid that's been somewhere for 2 years with no at bats, it's really hard to get him up to speed in a hurry. So I think it's tough to do that, and then obviously baseball is one of those unique games where it's about flow and there's a little art to it, and I think it's every team has to have an identity, and it's when you're bringing in half your roster new every year, it's hard to put the Justin Hill identity onto a team. And right now, I think that's kind of what we're seeing a little bit is who is this team and what are they going to be down the stretch. I do think, if there's anything Justin and really James has proved at softball is they're going to get them to play good baseball and softball whenever it matters.
At the end of the year, they've always played their best.
That's right.
The last few years. All right, Chaston, we are at the eve of the football season, spring ending here, and this is a scrimmage day. What do you want to see out of this spring? What do you think, and what does this team have to do?
I think the biggest thing coming into this spring that I think we're all looking at is offensively. Taking that next step under Tyler Bolfing. Obviously, the defensive staff has been here for a while now with Coach Peck, but what can the offensive staff in year 2 of this system, and can they continue to build on last year? Because we both know last year they kind of went through the ebbs and flows a little bit. They found the passing game, then they kind of lost the passing game. They were able to run the football. They weren't able to run the football at times. It was sort of up and down throughout the season. I think they're looking for more consistency, and obviously we'll see with the spring game. But I think that was kind of the biggest thing to look. I think they're going to be able to run the football.
Yeah, it looks like they can run the football.
Look, they're going to have another really good room. They get the transfer from Louisiana Tech, Amiri Wiggins. I think he's going to be really good. He's a really elusive back. That's going to be something to watch. I think this is a team that's going to be able to hang their hat on defense, though.
Yeah, I think running the football is the key, too, especially at this level, because you got to control it. You can't – too many turnovers last year seemed to be the key. Yeah. And it was from an administrative point of view, football, you have to have football.
Absolutely.
It has to not only win, but it has to be competitive.
Yep.
But it's tough on the FCS level now.
It is. I mean, similar to baseball. I mean, you look at what the portal does, and I mean, in baseball, we lost an arm to Virginia a couple of years ago that really hurt us. I do think, again, going back to, you have to have an identity as a football program, and once you have an identity, then it'll be easier to recruit guys and get guys that maybe believe in it and want to stick around for a little while. And so year 1, I think Coach V was trying to establish what that identity is for McNeese football. I know he hates about talking about going back, but just what used to be the identity and how can we bring that back? And I think he's made huge strides. I'm really excited about the core group that did stick around this year. The Jake Strongs and Trevante Citizens and some of those on the offensive side that I do think that they're going to have a better identity offensively for sure moving forward. And so from an administrator standpoint, I mean, look, football, obviously basketball is exciting and all those things, but the pride for your university really comes from your football program. And that's what drives all the excitement throughout the fall. And so, we're really excited about this group and what Coach V is doing.
One thing is we have to decide. I think they really have to decide, is Jake Strong the quarterback early this year?
Yeah,
because he had to find himself last year. Is this going to be his team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would probably all say that it's his job to lose right now. Look, I think Devin Lippold's played well. They've brought in a couple of freshman quarterbacks that I think have played well here in camp. But look, I think how does Lippold continue to play? Obviously, V has talked about it. He's been impressed with what Lippold's been able to do. But I think it's Jake Strong's, as of now, it's Jake Strong's team. And look, he showed signs last year.
Yeah, there were signs.
You think earlier in the year he was really able to show the ability to pass the football at a high level with really good accuracy. Really, their struggles to me a year ago came when they were unable to run the football. Yeah. And they had to rely on him throwing the football or him running the football because it got super one-dimensional, allowed the defense to kind of zone in on one guy, and that's just not going to lead to success.
And it exposed an offensive line that wasn't really good at pass blocking. Let's say. And of course, here's the big thing they need to do is they need to develop some receivers.
Yeah,
a lot of drop balls last year.
And look, there's a lot of this group is back this year.
Yeah.
How do they continue to develop over this year and throughout fall camp and so on? I'm with you. That'll be an interesting thing to watch.
And that's what I've wanted to see. Of course, there's a lot of kids that have played limited roles this spring, so we'll see more of them in the summer. But they got to develop a consistent passing game that at least can keep the pressure off the running game. When we come back, we'll get Matt Fontenot's final thoughts on his first show as the king of Polk Nation.
Welcome to Pro Pools, your one-stop shop for everything pool care. Top quality chemicals to keep your water clean, clear, and balanced. Plus in-store savings and rebates to keep more money in your pocket. Upgrade your cleaning with industry-leading equipment and turn your backyard into the perfect escape. From simple setups to luxury designs, we've got you covered. Visit Pro Pools today on Romero Street in Lake Charles. or call now and dive into better pool care.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
Well, we're back with Matt Fontenot. And how's your first show doing?
Man, it's been great. It's been great.
Not nervous, scared?
No, not nervous at all.
Oh, you should be. You always should be. Just remember that. Okay, so we got softball still going on.
Yep.
They look like maybe this is a big weekend, but they can turn the corner.
Yep.
But one thing about it is getting those 2 games, 3 games, that mini tournament at home. How big is that for the program?
Well, it's
or
big.
for the university?
Well, for the university, absolutely. I mean, I think anytime we can bring teams from our league here and showcase our facilities, our fan base, all that is phenomenal for us. But from a competitive side, I mean, James will tell you, we've always been best at home. I think our hiccups this year have mostly been on the road. So I know competitively he's really looking forward to trying to make a move at hosting that first round.
And just so people know, the basketball tournament is still here through 2029.
Through 2029.
It's not going anywhere. You've already paid your dues.
We did pay our dues. That contract is fulfilled from both sides, from the conference side and ours. And we've got locked it in through 2029. So we got 3 more years.
The people of SFA are not happy about that.
There's a lot of people not happy about that.
But that is one thing that is good. But it made money this year again. It's been most profitable since it's been here.
Yep.
And that's one thing about it is McNeese. That's why I always said McNeese is the important flagship of this conference. I still believe. Do you?
Absolutely, and I think Chris recognizes. I mean, we have a unique market, right? I mean, I think no offense to other markets, but I mean, Natchitoches and Thibodaux is vastly different than what Lake Charles is from a financial perspective, and so I think Chris and the conference recognizes that and seizes the opportunity to tap into that. Now, the good thing I think this year is, as this tournament has lived here for a couple of years, they've obviously learned and adjusted and tweaked, and I think they were more open to making it a little more fan friendly this year, and so we're looking forward to working with them again moving forward about how to make this a best event for our community.
Yeah, and the championship game had a record crowd.
It did.
That was one thing is they never, and I still think they got to do a better job marketing their conference.
Sure.
Especially here, so that when these teams come in, there's a picture of what they look like so that people can identify with them when the tournament gets here. Because sometimes that's the first time they hear about them.
It is, and I think it's educating the community on how good the basketball's gotten too.
A lot better basketball.
I think in the years past, it's like, well, let's circle the game whenever they play SFA, and all the other ones doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
This time around, there was 4 or 5 teams that could have won the tournament this year. So I think educating the fan base and the community on how good the basketball is.
You're still gonna have a hard time getting people to come in here and play.
We will.
You're 48-1.
Very hard.
When you're 48-1 at home, they're not coming here to play.
Yep.
So that's one thing about it. So, one thing I want to do is take this moment to thank Heath Schwer. It was an interesting 6-year ride with him. It was fun to have this job next to him. He was very open. I think it helped the university, but more importantly, it really made this place and this job a lot easier. I think fans got to see and look into what this university is about that people have never seen before on this level, and hopefully we can continue to do that. But personally, I want to thank Heath. I know he did a lot for your career in that, but he's a unique brand of guy that is going to be hard to follow up on.
He is, and I want to thank Heath too, obviously. I mean, and not just as what he did for me personally, but as an alumni that played baseball here. He was one of the first athletic directors that had a true vision for what this place could be, and so I thank him for that as an alumni. But then personally, he gave me a second chance in this business after my time at A&M, and so I'm really, really thankful for being able to work for him for the 3 years that I had.
And now you get to sit in the seat.
That's right. Well, Miss Bridget, interim seat with Miss Bridget.
But I mean, on this show.
On this show, for sure. Yep.
So we'll see how that plays out. next week on Poke Nation.